Welcome. You are at the CCC.
Where there are no outside issues. Hi, my name is Bonnie Violet. I'm a trans femme, genderqueer, spiritual drag artist, digital chaplain, and person in recovery.
My name is Anthony. I'm a 7th year doctoral student in clinical psych. I have a little bit of a stuffy nose. I'm getting over a cold, and I care about you.
Yes, and I am Louie Lou, and my pronouns are he and him. I am in recovery for alcohol and crystal meth, and I am always in search of balance.
And each week we provide and create a brave space where we engage in conversations around topics of recovery.
Yes, and our intention is to hold and inspire better spaces for people in recovery.
By tackling topics sometimes used to separate us.
But before we do that, like, subscribe, comment, and ding that bell. And now for the disclaimer. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on At the CCC are ours alone. We do not represent anyone but ourselves. The material and information shared here is for general information purposes only. In other words, we are just friends having a kiki here to entertain you.
Let's have a kiki.
Let's have a kiki. So
Lock the doors tight.
That's a good song.
Right? It is.
That is a really good
It is a
song.
good song, yes.
Let's have a kiki. I like the vocals in the beginning, where she's talking about
Kiki is
no, where she's saying, I feel like a watered down rat, like that whole
When she's talking about the MF and
yeah, but how the train stopped.
and all that. Yeah.
Motherfucker sucking my.
I don't know New York
ass,
that
yeah.
well, so I can't always think of what the train system is.
Metro.
And all that, but yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, what?
No.
We're
Okay.
just friends kikiing, right?
Yeah, just-
We can talk about nothing.
And I feel compelled to say that like that term came from within the queer community. Scissor Sisters did not come up with it,
Yeah, no.
but everyone knows that. So how is everyone?
Good.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I guess we're
Yeah,
moving on.
Good, yeah.
Yeah. Are y'all for real?
Happy to be back.
This is our first time all being in the studio together.
I
Yes,
know.
this
It's a really long
season.
time.
This season.
Right.
This season.
Sorry, I was falling out of my chair.
Mm.
It keeps slipping.
I know. I'm like waiting for you to fall into your mic.
I don't know how to keep it from.
You know, we
not.
need those big ass comfortable seats, like
What comfortable seats?
with backs.
Well, and if I could
With
just sit
backs?
on one at a time instead of
Yeah,
two.
exactly.
The story of my life.
Maybe that's what we need to we need to invest in chairs that like go up and down. But if we had like those rolly chairs, I wouldn't be able to sit still. I'd like just roll around and you just hear that all day
we
while
would
we're on air.
for sure.
As opposed to
Yeah, you know what? For everyone at home, I ate all of my snacks before we came on air. I just have my cup of coffee sitting in front of me, so you are welcome.
Right?
We will not have any ASMR today. So should we like talk about the topic, or did y'all want to check in?
No matter what.
No matter what. So today's topic is no matter what. How do you protect your recovery, or how do you keep yourself safe? Right. So many different ways. Louis, how do you stay safe, protect your recovery?
Well, when I think about no matter what, I mean, it's more than just protecting my recovery no matter what. Like I got a coin from one of my sponsees. I'm in no matter what club, and no matter what, I am going to do whatever it takes to move forward in life, to become a better version of myself. No matter what, I am going to show up for myself the way that I hadn't been showing up before. So there's so many ways. Obviously, the basics are working with another sponsor, working with sponsees, going to meetings, and not picking up and using period.
I feel like one of the crucial thing here is like no matter what. So when you say no matter what do you mean?
No matter what, like does not matter. How life shows up. No matter what comes at me. No matter death, loss of job, broken relationships, possible homelessness, feeling alone, gaining weight, all of those things.
Boredom.
That's
a big one.
Do the work that is required.
Yeah, that's what came to mind to me was like no matter what. Like to me, I just went to like, what are like the really difficult or hard things that happen in sobriety that when I wasn't sober, I would drink or use over it, Like, and so I think that's the thing for me is just thinking like, because, sobriety doesn't save us from everything, and
No.
and doesn't make life just easy all of a sudden. I do believe it's the easier, softer way, but yeah. So the no matter what just thinks like, like a family member could pass away. I could go through a breakup. I could lose a job. I could, all these sorts of things. They could pass bills against trans people and drag artists.
Mhm.
That's where my mind is at right now.
Yeah.
But drinking and using is not a thought. It's like I don't feel like I want to drink or use to like the legislature,
Right. What does it solve but create more problems for yourself?
It doesn't even come up.
Right. I think for me, no matter what, there are like two things. The first is not being convinced of my own excuses, because I can think of very early sobriety. I mean, one of the biggest changes that I experienced after my last relapse was I told myself no more excuses. So for example, if I wanted to go to a meeting, I'd be like, I'm too tired. Nope. No matter what, I'm going to go. Or I'd say to myself, oh, you know what? I actually don't want to take this call from my sponsor. Nope. I told myself no matter what, despite the things inside of me that tell me no. And I think the other thing that I'm reminded of is, I think I wrote it down because I felt like, I think about like the passion and energy I had behind doing shit that I knew wasn't right for me. So one of my favorite things that I've heard sponsors say before is like, oh, I can't go to a meeting because it's raining. They'd be like, yeah, but if you wanted to get drunk, you like go in the rain, and I love that way of thinking, because whenever I am lacking motivation, I try to get myself in a headspace where I'm thinking, actually, like, when was the last time that I pushed through through my own stuff in order to maybe like drink or drug or hook up, right? And how can I bring myself to like bring that energy to the situation to do this thing that I know is good for me?
Yeah, this they talk about it, I think, more in A and as not as much in A, but the idea of reservations. Like, and we all talked about it. Like when I came in, and I didn't have this problem. I was so, in my mind, I was so broken. But I hear a lot of people saying, well, if my mom dies, if this happens or whatever, where it's like you give yourself permission to fall. Like I was talking to somebody about, like, if we looked in the sky and there was a missile and it was like the beginning of like war, would I take that opportunity to drink? And, I don't know. I said I don't know. But
well, it's almost like turning an if only or an only if into a no matter what.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever heard of the atomic bomb meditation?
We have a question.
Oh, we have a comment coming in before the atomic bomb meditation.
Yes, I was.
Jalen, we were wondering where the hell you were. I don't think you were on last week. No matter what, in general, or no matter what, just for today, girl. However you interpret that, right. or is that a rhetorical question?
Yeah. No matter what.
Yeah, I like to hear your follow-up, Jalen. And why we're talking about comments, if you're listening at home, we'd love to hear what it means for you when you hear the phrase no matter what. And maybe it has nothing to do with recovery. Maybe it just has to do with, I don't know, going to the gym, going to church, whatever it is. How is it that you interpret no matter what? And then how do you get yourself to actually honor no matter what?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I was thinking, have you ever heard of the atomic bomb meditation?
No, but you're going to.
No. I'm going to. That's why I was asking, because if you heard it already, I was just not going to talk about it.
Like contrary to itself, atomic bomb.
Well, you know what? Hold on.
I'm listening.
And I'll let you.
I'm listening.
So the atomic bomb meditation, it was this meditation. I used to study Vedanta with this guru back in Oakland. And there was this meditation. It was called the atomic bomb meditation. And basically the idea is you tell yourself, or you get yourself into the frame of mind, I just found out that the world is going to be hit with this like massive atomic bomb. What would happen in your mind? And the idea is before you start losing it, because I could feel it coming up on me. I know.
It's too real.
I know. I mean, maybe this is maybe it's not, maybe like post-apo. I don't know. But the point is that it makes you reprioritize the things that are bothering you, right? Like, so suddenly, at least when I don't remember what I was thinking about, but like suddenly, that someone looked at me crooked on the train doesn't matter to me, because there is this like reprioritization of my thoughts and my energy, right? You hear a lot of this, like I've heard similar things from people who like are on their deathbed. If only I had another day, these are the things that I would have done differently. So I think that's the idea, right? Like if you knew that the world was gonna end, or if you knew you couldn't fail, etc., like what would your life look like? What would you do differently?
Yeah, I mean, that creates a sense of urgency, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure. But I don't know, like I don't
Hold
know.
on, I want people at home listening. I looked over and that looked so dismissive. She was like,
No.
I guess.
No, I was just trying to think, like, if the world was coming to an end, would I like go to a meeting? Would I, like I might try it, I might try to connect with like the gifts I've gotten from, you know what I mean? Like I would want to be around friends or family, or I would want to, I don't know. That's kind of where my mind goes.
Yeah.
Depending on if
Does
I
that
knew
make
how
you-
long before the end was coming.
I know, right? Does that make
Like,
me
because if
mad
I
at
didn't have
you?
any time, I would be trying to be as close as I could to the people that I could be with. But if I knew for a fact that I had like a good 4 weeks or whatever, I can't tell you that I wouldn't try crystal meth again.
They didn't even Bill Wilson was like, fuck me
Oh,
up
wow.
before he died. Wasn't it something like, I know I'm like destroying that story, but Bill Wilson, didn't Bill Wilson on his deathbed was like, I want to get loaded. Wasn't that?
Well, you
Was
know what?
that a thing?
This is something.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is something that I hear.
Is that fake news?
This is one of our fellows.
We
said.
should, you know what? I'm going to text Kim right now to
Yeah,
ask her.
was
Go
that
ahead.
This
on
one
Fox
of our
or
fellows says,
CNN?
like Dan H. He says all the time. It's like, you know what? And I say this too. I'm not surprised when people relapse. I'm not surprised when
Mhm.
people go back, because that's what we know.
That's
how
what
to
we do.
That's
Yeah.
what we know how to do. Like the fact that I said, I want to try crystal meth again. That is, I'm just keeping it real. The fact that I don't do it, that's where the shock comes in.
Right.
And so I'm practicing faith, and I am practicing this idea of no matter what, I am going to do everything I can to make sure that I don't let that part of me that really thinks that would be a good idea
Mhm.
go back to that.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's just recognizing, because I was a pain user, I guess, in the sense like I feel like pain was like a big pusher of like my substance use.
I'm
Do
listening.
you have a thing?
No, I just
Are you
figured it
sure?
out. But no,
Okay.
figure your thing.
Because
finish.
I mean, I think then like when we get to a place where we're like wanting to drink or use, it's like, where am I hurting? Like where's the pain?
If you're not watching this and you're just listening, I don't even know if you can appreciate just how excited Anthony is.
That's funny. Someone the other day said to me, they sent me a gif of Beyonce and they said, how does this make you feel? And I was like, I'm not very excitable in general. And like, I don't, but they were like, so what are the things that get you excited? And I said, factoids.
Yeah.
Like I love
Yeah.
factoids, and I love games, and I love escape rooms, and anyway. So here's a factoid. So this is, I don't know whether or not this website is reputable, so I won't even give you what the website is, but this is what they said. Oh, it's called Bill Wilson and the Drug War. I don't know what that's about though. So I'm just taking this one piece. And I also, I text our friend Kim, who's been on the show before. She's our resident historian.
Yeah, she is.
When it comes to all things AA. Okay, so this is what it says. Over his last days, he asked 3 more times for a drink. Bill Wilson, this is. He was never given one. Shavir says she was shocked and horrified that Wilson would want whiskey on his deathbed, and that her blood ran cold when she read on his request in the nurse's logs of the last days of his life. I mean, whatevs, he was human.
I think it's important because it's kind of come up, or at least with me, how do you get to that place of no matter what? Right. And I think you may have said that. I mean, and it really, it is important to note, if you're a newcomer and you're not feeling that way, that's okay. That's completely okay. It's like, we just, we say we take this one day at a time.
Yeah.
I think for me, and this is tied to my faith, the more I would take action and do it and follow through, and I wouldn't turn into a pillar of salt or die, then I started to truly believe. And in turn, and the more times I did that, it's like my life got exponentially better. Things got good for me. And so I wrote in, I think, my gratitude list, I have a life that I really love and that I want to hold on to. And so that is where my motivation for no matter what comes in.
Yeah.
I think that if I did not have that, I could probably tell you that this idea of no matter what probably wouldn't be as important to me.
Yeah. You know what you're reminding me of is there was this talk, I think it may have been Sandy Beach or someone, and they were saying basically like, don't wait for inspiration. And that's been crucial for me. I think sometimes I think that's how I get to no matter what. It's like, I can't wait for the inspiration to pray. I can't wait for the inspiration to do the right thing, because that shit might never show up. you know. It reminds me too of there's this paper, it's called like what's it called, the triangular theory of love. And basically, like, there's this theorist who says that consummate love, or like full love, is love that is both it's passionate, it's intimate, and it's committed. And I bring that up only to say that I feel like for me, the no matter what part comes from the commitment part.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that's the part where it's like, okay, is this an agreement that I've made with myself? And that's super telling for me too, because there was certainly a time in my life where I would make promises to myself that I couldn't keep. And, you know, now I'm in a different part of my life where I actually keep the promises I make myself. 99.9% of the time. I'm not perfect.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, my thought is too, is I think sometimes, have you ever, no matter what something that you probably like don't need or something? You know what I mean? Like,
What you mean?
like we're talking about recovery, like no matter what, I'm not going to drink or use or like pick up or blah, blah, blah. But I mean, sometimes I think I think I can get so fixated on something being the right thing or the right way or the better way or the healthy way or the spiritual way or whatever. And I can kind of like, I don't know, like, again, no matter what, kind of staying in this thought that maybe isn't true anymore.
Are you talking about like having like rigid
I wish
ideas?
I could think of something like specifically that.
Relationships with family. Relationship with
Oh,
family,
God.
like when family shows up and shows
Girl, why you got to do that right
no,
now?
when family shows up and they show you how they are, and the reality of it is just like we have the opportunity to change.
Yeah.
They also have the opportunity to change, and sometimes it's like, you know, I've heard people said, and I probably even thought this, like, I don't care what you say to me, I'm done. I'm done. It's like,
makes me think of Al-Anon, right? Like I you know, like I struggle with Al-Anon. I am an Al-Anon. I don't know whatever.
I'm Al-Anonic.
I'm Al-Anonic.
I've heard it said before.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm still figuring it out, but like, and like, I like that you brought up family, because I think that makes a lot of sense to me, because I will want to try to like make my family be who I want them to be, no matter what, you know. And that just creates so much pain and so much strife and so much disappointment that, you know, like, and yeah. And so, and you can do it in a way that feels like, oh, well, this, and I can say this too, like I've always tried to be like spiritual and good and all that sort of shit. And like,
I'm mad that you ended
with
shit. Yeah.
I almost always have to say shit when I say spiritual.
Yeah, I feel
like,
it.
I don't know. It's just where I'm at, but I lost my train of thought.
Oh,
but,
no. Oh, I suck. I'm so sorry.
You don't suck. It was fine. I probably wasn't going to
God's will, actually.
God was like, shut up.
I think that I think the work that we're doing, and this is where we do a number on ourselves. The work that we're doing, when we're in that place, we're like, no matter what, no, I'm not gonna this. As we start to change some of our rigidity or some of our rigid ideas about how things work, we let go of them, and then we get to kind of show up in a different way. So no matter what can
we have
we have a thing.
We have a thing.
Oh, we have a thing. Don Lee says, I didn't think I had any conditions on my sobriety. Then I got some surprise health news, and my first thought was, well, I might as well use.
Absolutely.
And it turned out the news wasn't as bad as it sounded.
Absolutely. I loved in the beginning. It's like,
thank you, Don Lee.
I loved in the beginning when people said, play that tape.
Play it out.
Play the tape. Play it out completely. Because like the thought that we as addicts and alcoholics don't know the difference between a bad day and
the end of the world. I like that one.
It's like you make a permanent
solution to a temporary problem.
Yes, exactly.
The no matter what part was making me also think, you know, like as queer people, like you guys as being like,
I feel like I should
color,
like this.
You know, I think no matter what, like even if somebody says something racist or transphobic or sexist or whatever in a meeting, or like even like no matter what, like I have a lot of criticisms of the program, you know, and like, but no matter what, you know, like I don't know, that was just kind of coming to mind for me, because I think those are some of the excuses, and they're real.
Yeah.
Like they're not like, I'm not trying to.
What's real? The excuses?
No, but like I mean, there's racism and transphobia and like in different meetings and just in life and, you know, all that sort of stuff. So it's like real stuff, and it's damaging stuff, and it's hurtful stuff.
Yeah.
But don't let that rob you from the potentiality of you still getting something worthwhile.
Right. You're reminding me. So my sponsor a while back, I love her so much. We've worked with each other for so many years and I just adore everything about her. But so she said to me, there was one day, I don't know, I was like on the phone with my mom or whatever. And my mom knows, as y'all know, as everyone's moms know, like they know what buttons to press, you know? And she wasn't even trying. Like
because they installed them.
Yeah. You know what? I take all of that back. I don't even, whatever, the buttons thing. So my mom was just being herself. You know what I mean? And my mom, there's a saint in every sinner and what was that? Every saint has its past and every sinner has its future. I don't know how that applies to my mom, but I was talking to my mom. Oh, I remember what it was. So when I was back at home, I haven't told you all this story. So I was back at home and I was like, Mom, you know, I told myself in 2023, I'm going to start dating because I haven't dated in like 2 years. And I told her about this guy that I had a crush on or whatever. And my mom is so negative. She was like, you know, Anthony, I just don't know why you bother. It never works out for you.
Oh, wow.
And I was what? But like, you know,
maybe that was her encouraging you.
Girl, stop. So the thing about my mom, like, you know, my mom says that kind of stuff about a lot of things. And she has like very skewed ideas about like relationships. She's like, you know, she's in her 70s. She didn't exactly have the easiest life. She's been through some shit. You know what I mean? So it was not about me.
Impressed.
But
it wasn't about me. It wasn't about me.
Every time that she's done that, has it motivated you to kind of prove her wrong?
So I'm gonna finish my story. And I think it'll answer that. So I was so mad and I was so hurt because I'm like, she don't know shit. You know what I mean? And I called up my sponsor and I was like, yeah, you know, my mom said this shit, blah, 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 blah. And my sponsor said, why are you surprised? Like your mom was just being your mom. You know what I mean? And then my sponsor was like, you know, Anthony, like what you don't change, you choose. And if you don't change to look at her differently, then you're choosing to have this feeling over and over again. And I was like, what? That like blew my mind. And what's the purpose of that story? There was a purpose. What you don't change, you choose.
I like that.
Yeah. She's filled with those things. Comment coming in from Jaylon.
Jaylon says, I pose that question because in early sobriety, you hear so much about the No Matter What Club. And I've always thought to myself, well, if I was to have a lapse, would I no longer be a part of that club? I say no matter what just for today, because we also here in program to practice being present and focused in this 24 hours. So no matter what, just for today is something that seems easier to commit to. Jaylon dropping in.
I know, Jaylon sending us comments like daily reflections. Wiki. Red like a lobster.
Red like a lobster.
Okay, I remembered why I brought up change choose.
Okay.
Because what I was thinking of was I can... If I find myself in a situation, so this is, I'm being reminded too of like step one, right? So step one has been my saving grace and recovery. So for those unfamiliar with step one, it's like life became unmanageable and people, places, things, right? So step one reminds me that isn't just like, it's literally everything. Like I cannot manage how you think. I cannot manage what Congress is doing. And I think there is, spiritually speaking, there's this illusion, that I can influence how people receive me or think or whatever, right? Like I go to the ballot box, you know what I mean? Or I dress a certain way, or I change the intonation in my voice, right? There's this illusion, right? But bottom line is kind of like art. You can create art, right? Like once you put your art out there, the world's going to do whatever the fuck it wants to do with your art. And I think similarly, it has to do with like our personalities and how we show up in the world. And so that fact alone, just knowing like people are going to do what people do, that's enough freedom for me, you know? Were you going to say something, Bonnie Violet?
No, I was just feeling attacked a little.
How? Because of Congress?
Really.
No, I would
not. What you said?
No, I was just.
No. I mean, I have. You know, I didn't mention it before. So before we were on air, for folks listening in, we were talking about some shit that's been going on in the country, related to trans rights and drag performers and etc. And you know, which a lot of that has to do with like the political process. And so we were having a discussion before the camera started rolling. And so that's probably why Bonnie Violet thought.
I was
But
just like,
but
oh, all right.
yeah. But what I'm bringing
She's
that up
preaching to me.
No,
Okay, I
she's
hear
not. She's
you.
not. But I brought that up just because like I have my I didn't bring any of them up, but like I have my issues with like things that are like part of the political atmosphere right now that I didn't talk about, you know.
Absolutely.
But you know, the takeaway of what I'm trying to say is like there literally is nothing under my control. You know what I mean? Like there are different philosophies that say, well, I'm in control of my perspective, right? Which is a little bit of Alcoholics Anonymous, you know. But there's a lot of freedom in that for me, and so I think the reason why I brought up, not why thinking, but like choosing and changing, is that I can make a decision, right? Like I can make a decision and I can return to a decision, like I'm not going to do this thing, right? And then the rest of that, if I'm working, my program is about God, you know, like that's it, you know, because how many times have I, like before I got sober, said to myself, oh, this time I won't drink. No, this time I won't do this thing.
So, Jaylon, to your thought about like just for today, and if you have a lapse or whatever, that it falls, just like with everything else that we do, like some days I am more aware and more focused and I fall short because I'm fallible, I'm human.
Right.
And I think that I can believe no matter what and fall short, but come back to my same ideas around, you know, like one day I'll go to see Mean Girls instead of going to a meeting.
Right.
I'm not going to be perfect all the time, but it doesn't keep me from still kind of being on that no matter what trajectory,
right.
you know?
No matter what, like even if I relapse.
Yeah, exactly. No matter what, I'm going to come back. No, I'm going to come back. I'm going to commit to this the best way I can. And sometimes even if I fall short, I'm going to get back on that horse and keep going.
Yeah. I think Anthony got a factoid.
Well, Kim got back to me and she said, she probably wouldn't want me to read it out loud, actually, so I'm not going to. But basically what she did say was that was from a secondary source.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's probably sensational. It's
yeah. Wait, so
you were talking about something that I learned the hard way, and this had to do with Powerless. Like when I came in, I wanted everybody to like me. Or when I moved, even before I came into the rooms, when I came to San Francisco, I wanted all these people to like me. And the truth of it is like I can be myself and not know what trauma, what somebody else is dealing with, and I may not rub them the right way. And once I got over that fact, like, and it took a really long time because I was constantly worried about people who were not like, why don't they like me? Why don't they love me? They need to love me. They need to like me, and they don't need to do anything.
Right. Well, and if they don't, then it's like something that you're doing wrong.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you know, I feel, you know, I struggled with that a lot growing up, is that there were all these like opinions about me, all things about me, and I had internalized them until I got to a point where I was like, oh shit, like I actually don't have to internalize these things. And I think so too is going back to this idea of no matter what, it's like we don't have to believe that we are incapable of doing things, you know, like we don't have to believe that we're incapable of drinking or using or like not acting out on a character defect. And in this third step, you know, it talks about like the correct use of the will is to align our will with God's will. I was going to have a translation for that for people who may not be familiar, but I can't think of one. But
universe, whatever you think.
Yeah, universe. But the idea here being that
I think part of that is just like going with the flow or
connecting your will to your higher self.
Yeah, like higher self, or like tapping into that which is part of like all things, you know. Someone I think once told me like the way you make God happy is by being exactly who God intended you to be. Right.
Well, I you know what?
I don't think God gets happy. Doesn't God stay happy?
I don't know. I was just quoting someone else, but I did like the idea until you came in.
This is why you're wrong.
I put in my I put in my thing that the life I have is God's gift to me, and how I live this life is my gift to God.
Oh.
I got that from someone else, but it's true. Like I heard it, and I'm all, that makes sense.
You know, once I was talking to my sponsor about okay, my sponsor's like super fit, and I remember asking my sponsor like an early because you come in and you're like a fucking wreck, you know, mind, body, and spirit.
Pillsbury Doughboy.
Yeah, I was like a wreck. I was like falling apart, and I was like, "How do you stay so fit?" And she said, "Like you don't make it about you. You make it like as a form of prayer. Like you make it as a form of like worship." like to commune with God. And I was like, oh wow, that's like totally not egocentric.
Yeah, your sponsor sounds amazing.
Oh, you know my sponsor.
Do I?
Yeah. I love her. Anyway.
Oh wait, yeah. Duh. Okay, it took me a minute.
Yeah, my sponsor is wonderful. So no matter what. So folks at home, if you're just chiming in, no matter what.
We're all over the place.
Yeah, no matter what. Jalen says, stop trying to be liked by everyone. You don't like everyone.
I'm feeling attacked. I know exactly. I don't want you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jaylon. It's like I'm
always.
No. I think that now I am not concerned about having everyone like me, but I am concerned about being thoughtful, because the difference in me before was I was just would say, do whatever, and not take into consideration that other people are in the world.
Right.
You know, so kind of how we do.
Yeah.
Well, and oftentimes that it's always like a projection, right? So,
yeah.
Like I think if we're working on likability, if you will, that's like an inside job, I think, too.
God, yes.
You know, because I know, like for me, I think I could always get in like in a problem of like wanting to control my narrative of what people think about me. And then if somebody said something that I thought wasn't true or wasn't what I was trying to project, then I would like have a thing about it. But that's because I was trying to create some, you know what I mean? Because I was trying to control something.
It's kind of the conversations we used to have, like when I was host of the show for Mascara, and I remember talking to you and you're saying, well, you want your performance to affect people in a certain way. And I'm all, the truth of it is like, it has to affect you. It's like, you don't know how people are going to receive it or not. It's like, because when I figured out that people were going to laugh at me regardless of if I was being serious or not in drag, and that I was just a circus clown, then I leaned into that, and I enjoyed. And now I can feel glamorous, and it's weird. It's like once I got over feeling like I wanted to control how people saw me, and because you can be those two things. I can be a circus clown.
Well, it doesn't make you less of a person. Like, I think that's part of it too, especially if it would seem like a negative or something that I saw as a negative attribute to myself. Like, that doesn't define me, and it doesn't make me, and it doesn't like cancel all the other parts of myself, which, I think that's where I used to be.
There's another part of our topic today that I feel like we missed.
Oh, let's go.
I was just like, I feel like it's the, how do you keep yourself safe? If there's no matter what, and how do you keep yourself safe?
I don't leave the house for nothing. If I do, I get in an Uber, and
that's too real, because we know your life.
Oh, for recovery.
Yeah.
It's the same. I mean, how can you prioritize one over the other?
What, your life?
How do I keep myself safe? Like, are you talking about physical safety, or
we came up with those topics together? What are you talking?
I think it was a cut and paste from somebody else.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no.
Do you know how to keep I'm doing the work. I'm doing the work consistently, doing the work, and then I'm surrounding myself with people who.
Well, even if it's unsafe,
I'm working on surrounding myself with people who release me to be, who allow me to be who I am.
How about? I'm sorry, did I interrupt you?
No. Because I want to hear what you have to say. If I don't like it,
let her speak for herself.
If I don't like what you have to say, I'm gonna say, no, you interrupted me. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Wait,
screw you, threw me off. I totally forgot what I was going to say.
Have you noticed when we started, we're all over here. There's so much love between us, because all of a sudden it's like this becomes like this.
I know, right?
Oh, is that what you think I'm doing?
We're touching each other. We didn't even know.
And I have issues with touch, y'all know.
We're like getting closer and closer.
Yeah. That's enough. So
That's it.
No, I totally threw myself. Wait, touch, not touch. We weren't talking about touch.
Let's go back to feeling safe.
So I was thinking too, like practical things. Like, so practical things for me are, like when I find myself anxious in a situation, I'll like go to the restroom and like I'll like breathe or something like that. Or if I'm at a situation where there's going to be some shit going down, like I always make sure I have an exit strategy, or like I have to remind myself, like, you don't have to stay here,
The conversation that we had earlier before on camera.
Yeah.
Bonnie started to talk about it, and I started to have a reaction.
What was it?
And it was uncomfortable, and it was fear.
Yeah.
And I was feeling, and I don't know if I was caring from you or it was because I was connected it to like all the conversations about CRT and everything else
Mhm.
and all that good stuff. And so I picked up my phone, and I have a tendency to use that as a way of kind of meditating. You know, like I was there, I wasn't ignoring the conversation, but I was I was disassociating. So I think that a lot of times before a friend called me out a long time ago, like this is like 93, like he said, you know, anytime a tough conversation would go on, you would like excuse yourself and go to the bathroom.
That's
or
real.
you know, and I didn't know that it was something I was doing just because I could not handle it. So yeah, I think that the most practical is removing myself from a situation.
Can I share something?
Go ahead.
I was just thinking because of like this thing that you're talking about. So going back to the Vedanta stuff. So there was this teaching that I really liked. It's called I wrote it down, like the object of your desire. That's the teaching. And the object of the desire teaching is basically that we fool ourselves into believing that that it's about the thing that we want, right? So it's about this lover. I want this lover. I want this drug, or I want like this app, right? Where in the teaching, actually, that's not what we want. What we want is what happens the second we come in contact with that thing, which is like our thoughts stop, right? Which is something that we can actually achieve without the thing, without the sex, without the app, without, you know, the drug or the alcohol, is that we can actually bring ourselves to like quiet the mind. We can get ourselves into basically like a dream state. I don't know how we got there, but I was definitely thinking about that after you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's like a hit.
Oh, factoid.
I'm just going. I really like the cut and paste. I really like grabbing these topics and bringing ourselves.
Okay, well, we're not like completely unoriginal for people listening to us.
No, it's true, but
we did our research. We went out there. We saw some things we liked.
But why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah,
exactly. For real. And it's not like we're having those conversations, like their conversations.
We're not called like the Mavericks. Like, we didn't call our podcast that.
The Mavericks. The Mavericks.
Forge in a trail that
for
no one's ever been on before.
For all sober podcasts.
We're just regular old bozos on
a bus. I love that.
Oh my God, I can't wait to listen to this on Sunday morning. Like I have this practice that I plan back on Sunday morning when I'm opening the store, and I take notes and think about how like funny.
Oh, I have a new no matter what thing that came up for me that I was thinking about. I was actually thinking about this before today, and it's only coming up to me. So for me, like I don't have a desire to drink or use anymore. My shit is around emotional sobriety. That's been the stickiest for me. Y'all both went, oh.
We're talking about drugs and alcohol.
But emotional sobriety is like the next frontier.
We went up because we can relate, not because it was about you.
Yeah. Wait, what? What do you say?
Well, it's like
I will unmic you. I will pull the cord out of your mic.
Well, it's not like I was gonna be nice. Calm down. It's like you go ahead and talk.
Yeah. So what was I going to say? So for me, like the no matter what thing has been. So I've been working a rigorous ass 4-step in Al-Anon actually, and an SLAA. They cross over. And one of the things that I noticed that comes up a lot is like, you know, historically what I've done is I've had like this fucked up narrative about myself. I put myself in a situation, I superimpose that narrative, and I'm now using you to hurt myself, right? This is kind of like a tired trope that I've had.
Sounds like my sex life.
Girl, what? So, wait, what? Okay, we can come back to that. So recently my no matter what thing has been like whenever I find like that that gripping feeling inside. It could be any fucking feeling, jealousy, anger, lust, whenever like that. So recently my no matter what thing has been like, if I have this like gripping feeling in my chest, like that's the moment that I like stop. And like in that moment is when I like remind myself of the 4th step. Going back to what you said earlier, like I play it out. I'm like, is this shit going to be any different? And you know what's been great about that is like in the last few years, it's saved friendships. You know what I mean? It's like, it saved me from like having like shitty ass like feelings post, you know, like the other day I went to the movies by myself, and I don't know why I felt the need to say by myself, but I did. I went by myself, and so you know, at one of the theaters you can order your shit ahead of time. So I had ordered my stuff ahead of time.
What theater?
AMC.
Oh, what?
We are not endorsing them, but that's what was on the block. So I was at AMC. You can order your food. They can bring it out to you during the movie.
Nice.
So I had ordered this food or whatever, one of my biggest pet peeves is when I think you're bad at your job. I'm working on it, but that's one of my pet peeves. So I was at the theater and no one brought me my stuff. And I'm thinking like, oh, I'm sober and I'm so spiritual. Like, I was fucking fuming. And I was like keeping it together and keeping it together and keeping it together. And then I walked out. I was like, hey, I already felt myself losing it. I was like, hey, y'all were supposed to bring out my shit like 10 minutes ago and the movie's already started. Can you bring it out? And like, I felt it like picking up inside of me. And I was like, oh my God, even like there are just some times where like, I am not going to be able to keep it together.
It could have been worse. I mean,
it could have been, yeah. I mean, and then, yeah, I mean, I kept it, I mean, I wasn't like hella like,
it cute.
Yeah, I wasn't out of pocket. Yeah. And then afterward, like I was sitting through the movie and I'm like, Anthony, what is wrong with you? Like that kid's probably 17. Like, you know what I mean? But I mean, I wasn't horrible. I felt the feeling is basically what I'm getting at. And
did you feel it in your stomach?
Yeah, I get, stop it, Lewis. And I was just like, I felt this feeling and I was like, oh, I hate this. I don't want to have this feeling. And so afterward, I was going to go apologize to him, but he wasn't there. And I was like, see, Anthony, now you have this fucking feeling. He quit his job and was like, you know what? Fuck people. Fuck this job.
Can't do anything
old
right.
Bald man.
That old bald man
came for me over nonsense. It's like,
wow.
Over a popcorn and a soda that I didn't even finish. So we have 4 minutes left.
So you went by yourself?
Yeah, I went to go see Missing because I've been taking myself on dates.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I do that all the time.
It's subtle shade from the left over here.
No, I do.
You said it and then you're like, oh, why did I share that?
I don't know. I feel like
we have 3 minutes.
Like
I was like,
yeah, I've been trying to do like nice things for myself.
That's good.
You know what I mean? Like self-care stuff. Look at me, like all defensive. I'm like holding myself now.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it.
No. It was fine. I didn't think anything of it. We can talk after.
Lord.
So I mean, I think the reason why I brought that up was because it's interesting that I'm doing this nice thing for myself. And there's a part of me that's like, oh, what will the world think if they see me out by myself? You know what I mean?
I don't think they'll be thinking anything. I think that's what you think they're thinking.
I mean, that's the whole point, Lewis.
But
I get it.
So the Castro Country Club is a safe and sober community center for all people and a refuge for the LGBTQ recovery community.
We provide programs and services that help people change their lives by supporting personal growth.
Our vision is to reduce the suffering of addiction by connecting people to community, opportunity, and support. You can find more information, including all of the ways to contact us at www.castrocountryclub.org/podcast.
Yes, and tune in every Tuesday at 4 p.m.-ish Pacific Standard Time when we go live on our Castro Country Club Facebook and YouTube channels.
Find us on all your favorite podcast sources. That wording always gets me.
That one?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's do it again. Find us on all your favorite podcast sources. I think we should rewrite that one.
It's fine. I just don't know if my eyes mess with me or what. It's cute.
You can just say, find us where you find all your favorite podcasts.
We said it like 5 times.
Yeah.
So does that mean we're done?
Yeah, I think are we done?
Because don't you need to go to our website to like talk to us?
Yeah. So all that
questions.
Yeah. Like, basically, we used to give you all of our contact information. Just go to our website. That's it. One place.
That's where you listen to podcasts.
There you go.
See, he just cleaned that up right now.
Just
hey. All you got to do is
Brandon said, you ungrateful mother. Asking you shall receive. As usual, thank you so much for tuning in. We love you. Come back next week. Tell your friends about us. Comment, like, subscribe. And I think that's it.
Toodles.
Bye.